Hey guys, so I'm over here at our building here that we're finishing up. There's a 7-unit building and we've been working on it for a little bit of time now. We've got all the units rented except for the last one that's under construction. So this is what's going to go on. We're going to walk in. We're going to see what the hell's happening in there, and because if you don't check your building, if you don't see what's going on a regular basis, you're not going to be happily surprised. You're never going to be happily surprised. If you're the general contractor, if you're the owner of the building, if you're the one in charge, it's on you. There is no bullshit because all of that falls on you. All right, so let's take a walk through this place to see what's going on. All right, so this is a huge apartment. This thing's like 1,700 square feet. This was actually 2 units that were created. They made one large family unit. People have been living in here since 1963. There was nothing done in this unit for how many years is that? Like 60 years? Right from the patching of all the holes over the many, many years, to having to float out the entire wall. All right, this all being done. Now, if you look above here, they're throwing in new electric. So there's gonna be a fan put up in here. So that's all done. Now, these are all new doors in here. Put all new doors throughout the entire unit, and retrim these doors too. This will all have nice trim in here. You've got nice hardwood floors underneath all this drywall dust. It's all going to get replaced because that's what you got to do. If you got hardwood floors, you bring them back to life. The days of carpeting, not so much anymore. The only time you use carpeting is sometimes on the second floor, like in this unit. We've had to put some carpeting upstairs because of the noise factor. As you can see, we put in new sills on these units, new windows, okay? And then he's drywalling in on the side to finish this up. It's all gonna look really nice. Nice piece of trim will go underneath here, underneath this sill. It's gonna look good. These rooms are all gonna get crown molding also throughout, and then new baseboards, new trim around the doors. It's gonna look really sharp. This is what happens when people screw up, okay? Because whenever you're doing a job like this, you gotta think in advance. They came in, they put in this tile. I wasn't involved at the time. They put in this tile, they didn't change the valve. So here we are, busting out the freaking valve and just had to put in all the new tile, okay? And then had to put a new valve in. Now, that's the way it goes, it's gonna happen. Then they left an old freaking medicine cabinet in here when this was done. All right, so we had to pull that out. I got the tile guys come. Okay, we're gonna put a new medicine cabinet in and then redo this in here. And then again, this will all be done properly underneath here. This should have another piece of marble coming up across underneath this sill. So this is gonna look really sharp when it's done. All marble, as you can see. The tub will be reglazed. It's gonna have a new glaze on the tub. The toilet will get replaced because this shit's not staying pink. All right, it's just you don't want to bust out these cast iron tubs. It's a pain in the neck. If you can reglaze them, reglaze them. But this is going to be a really nice master bath that goes along with this master bedroom. All right, so in here, same kind of things going on. Okay, we got to start up here. We're going to put in a new fan, light, put in all new crown molding around. So already got the new doors put in, the new hardware on the doors, as you can see over here. We put in new hardware, okay? And then it'll have all new baseboard around, and refinish the hardwood floors. Now when we do the painting in here, we do, this isn't, economy type paint job. We put in nice 2 coats of we call it NSCG gray. It's just the color we use, and then you'll have the white ceiling. Now, a lot of times, when you're trying to save money on an apartment renovation, you'll do the ceiling, you'll do the walls all the same color. But this unit's going to go for somewhere close to $3,000 a month. People want to have a nice paint job. Okay, they want to have the crown molding. They want to pay them. They're going to pay the money. You want to give them what looks good. That same thing going on here. Look at this shit. Okay, we had to bust this out because they didn't change the valve before this was done, and I wasn't involved in this at that time. That's why I'm involved, because this is ridiculous. See, no one ever wants to show you the fuck-ups, okay? But when you're doing construction, there's always fuck-ups. It happens. You minimize them, you get them done, you fix them. So you bust this out, put in a new valve, okay? And then again, this will get reglazed, and then this wall is getting finished. All this is getting finished here. All right. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to bring up this medicine cabinet, because again this one came out, and we're going to bring it up to here so that we can then take this tile, this marble, and now we can bring it all the way across. How silly this was, okay? They had these old ass medicine cabinets, and the guy that was involved in this before, he didn't involved in redoing this modeling, he didn't take these out. My God, you're gonna spend, you know, thousands of dollars on redoing a bathroom, and you're gonna leave some old ass medicine cabinets in. Not a good idea. Okay. Now there are times when you do things as cheap as economically possible, but this unit was never rented before. This was the family unit. Like I said, 60 years of family living in this unit. Now, based upon the other units we have, they were all rented out at $800-900. Now they're being rented out at $1,900. So the people in this area are willing to pay the price. Okay, and so that's why we brought in the marble. That's why we got a marble floor. Okay. That's why we have a marble top on the vanity, right? Because you want to give people, you know, what they need for the price they're paying. Now this kitchen, I'm sitting here, it's a disaster right now, but this is money. Do you smell it? I'm smelling money, okay? You rip the shit out, you put in new stuff, people pay the price. This will have all new cabinets going across. As you can see, we've got them marked off on the walls. Why? Because we had the plan, but then we had to make sure that before we ordered the cabinets that the plan was going to fit the walls. Always double check it. Just don't go off of what they draw up at Home Depot or Lowe's, wherever you go. They're going to draw up a plan, but then bring that plan in, have your carpenter check to make sure that they're all going to fit. We ripped out the old soffit that was in here. There was an old soffit that was ripped out. All right, now over here, just talking with the carpenter, the electrician's going to take this and take a whip across there, bring it down, and that is what will energize the underlighting cabinet on that side. So this is all going to be brand new. It's going to be sharp. It's going to look good. We thought about opening this wall up, but in the same token, it was like, why bother? This apartment is so freaking big that anybody, you know, is going to enjoy to have a little bit more separation. And why? Because look at this. This is the dining room, okay, that you're looking at, that I'm standing in right now is the dining room. But look at this living room. I mean, can you imagine? This is an apartment, and look at the size of this freaking living room. All right, and so this is what people pay for. This is what they want. All right, so this is, we brought in all new can lighting in here to modernize it. As you can see, this has already been repaired, okay, down on this side. Come over here, they had to cut this all out in order to put the wiring through, and he's going to be working on this now. He's going to fill all this. This will all look nice. When it's done, that drywall is going to float really, really sweet, and then it'll all get painted. Crown molding throughout this whole area, going down this hallway. It's going to be fantastic. I mean, but this is what people want. You know, again, we put in these very durable ledges so that when the windows sweat, you don't end up with, you know, this all nasty. Some people will just do a drywall return. Well, we put in the material that, you know, that's durable. It's going to last forever. All right. Now, look at the windows in here. All brand new windows. I mean, the natural lighting in this room is fantastic. Just fantastic. So when you're going to, next time you see this, you know, hopefully it'll come along drastically in the next 2 weeks. And then we'll do a final walkthrough and show you what it's going to look like when it's totally done. But this is what people want. This is what you got to learn to do. In this kind of business, if you can be the general contractor, you bring in the subcontractors. If some of these people are employees, that's great. If they're all subcontractors, that's fine too. Just make sure that when you price it out, okay, you're pricing it out based upon the job, not time and materials. Because when you just do time and materials, that just means that however long it takes for them to do it, whatever their fuck-ups are, you're going to pay for it, not them. So always make sure that when you're doing this, that you're trying to always work off of a bid to a completed job. And then the other thing you want to make sure is there's always an understanding of what the scope of work is going to be. The electrician needs to know exactly how much you want done, all right? Because he's going to get really pissed if you just keep adding more and more things as the time goes on. And what I have found is if you start adding a lot more as the time goes on, the price then goes through the roof. Why? Because he's already on the job. He now controls the job, okay? And now he gets to control a lot more of the price. In the beginning, when he's going to be new to the job and you're bidding it out and you're looking at a couple of different electricians as an example, okay? That's when they're much more able to work with you. You know, they're much easier to work with you, and they're much more price sensitive for you. We're looking at this deck, this old ass deck that was attached to this apartment here. This is the 7-unit apartment. This was the owner's apartment. So they stuck this deck on it for their use. All right. Now, as you can see, it looks like it's seen better days. So are we going to rip that off now? No. We're going to we're finishing up that apartment so we can have this building finished. But we are going to then power wash that deck, fix up some of the railings that are missing, and then next year we're going to rip it off and we're going to put a new deck on there. It'll be a smaller deck because for an apartment we don't need to have quite that large of a deck, and that'll end up probably giving us another parking space. Okay, but one of the other reasons we're going to do it, not only because it's kind of dilapidated, because if you can see underneath the deck, they mounded all the dirt underneath that deck. And that mound of dirt is coming over the top of the sill plate. That's the sill plate is where the foundation wall top ends, and then they put on a piece of wood, treated wood over the top of that foundation wall. That's the sill plate. Well, if you keep dirt over the top of that, okay, for long enough period of time, that wood, that the rest of that building will start to rot, and that wood will rot out of there. Now, it's been there for a long time. I'm assuming this was probably built somewhere in the 80s, it looks like, okay? But we're not going to leave it that way. When we're going to rip that deck off next year, we're going to excavate out all that extra dirt that was stuck there. And you know they put it there because they had nowhere else to put it. I guarantee you that a lot of that dirt came from when they put in the sidewalk over here. All right, and so they didn't want to truck out the dirt because it was going to cost them a few bucks. They stuck it there, and then when they stuck it there, then they put the deck over the top of it. So people do stupid shit, okay? And it's like, why try to save pennies when it's going to cost you lots of money? What I mean by that is that if you rot out that sill plate and then you have to replace that, now you're talking some money, because above that is the framing of the building and the block. So that's what we're going to do. That's our plan there. But right for now, so that we can get this thing finished, get it rented for this rest of this year, we're just going to power wash it, clean it up, rip off that side staircase, and be done with it. Talk to you soon. Let's get out there.